Hey there folks, this is GreenXI, welcoming you right back to Let's Play Higurashi. This is episode 175. In the last episode, it was all about Mayo and Tomitaki, right? And their relationship and how Mayo is going to lose the all the research and funding and everything because her uncle died. So it's about how she feels right now and all that. So I think we're going on to completion of the medicines, C117, or Deja Vu next. Yeah. Hey, Nakagawa-kun. Long time no see. Still at it lately? You know, that? No, not at all. It's no fun getting old. You gotta concentrate when you work with clay. If you put it off for a long time, your senses get dull, and there's no point. Sensei, allow me to introduce someone. This is Major Takano. Very nice to meet you. Thank you for taking time to meet with me today. I truly appreciate it. I really didn't make time for you, actually. I was told that I could have some good raw sea urchins. That's one of the prerequisites for one of them. Sea urchins are good for you, did you know? Rich in vitamin A, and they're good for your skin. Women like sea urchins, right? It is true that sea urchins are rich in vitamin A, but compared to spinach, it's not anything that's worth making a fuss about. Well, none of that matters right now. He just seems like an unpleasant man, so I wanted to criticize him. These men are the directors of the Alphabet Project who control the funding of the Irie Institute. They are also people who are in position of being able to offer their opinions to those directors. To put it in a simpler way, they're the new owners of the Irie Institute. Although not so much as Uncle Koizumi was, they're also leaders and influencers in various fields. I have to be very careful not to upset them, and therefore there's no way I would have had the ability to call them in. By using the influence that the Koizumi faction once had, I finally managed to get this chance. Uncle Koizumi, who gave me his full support and made everything go my way, is not here anymore. I'm on my own from this point on, and I will open up a path. But this stage just doesn't belong to me today. I can't let the people who offered me this chance lose face, so I have to wait patiently until it's my turn. My primary objective today is to explain what a prominent research subject the Hinamazawa syndrome is, and acquire an indefinite extension for our research. They only ever think about money, so they aren't even realizing the hidden potential of Hinamazawa syndrome. They don't recognize that it's worth spending a lot of money on. This is not mere research on the existence of an unknown parasite, but something that may overthrow the basic foundations of anthropology. A Nobel Prize wouldn't even be enough. It won't be easy trying to explain all that to men who know nothing about any of it, but I have to. That's why I've spent many hours making these straightforward support documents. Sometimes we make documents confusing on purpose because we don't like dealing with uneducated people, but this time, it's different. I can't look down on them. I must sincerely try to make them understand. The accessible support documents are there in a huge pile. It feels like we're wasting time eating traditional Japanese food in such a relaxed mood. I want to get to the point and explain to them in detail so they can understand. But there is the saying, luck lies in the last helping. I have to be patient right now. To be frank, I thought the Alphabet Project we've seen wasn't that good. In the end, it's been nothing but a sandbox for the old men with their heads still stuck in the Pacific War. Nothing but a sandbox for those old men to craft their dreams of Imperial Japan's revival with money that isn't theirs. Do you know how much public funding was wasted on these delusions? From what I've heard, there are already prosecutors poking people like Okuno-sensei and trying to pin embezzlement on the old board of directors. That's what you get for trying to suck up to those old men. Of course, none of it can be made public, so I guess they'll be held responsible or demoted in another form. This is what the country gets for letting those ghosts of the war run around freely all the time. Boy, these grilled sea urchins are fantastic. Well, this is harsh. I realise it's extremely difficult to ask this of you when you feel that way, but might have a moment of your time. You're from the Irie Institute, aren't you? You're researching some kind of local disease in Nakano or Gifu, right? What's going on down there? The board has decided to halt the research for military application. The research project itself is to wrap up within 3 years as well. Oh no, sorry, that's still being discussed. Anyhow, our work is scheduled to be shut down within a few years. Ah yes, I remember now. The Irie Institute had a bad reputation even among the old board of directors. After all, it sucked up huge funds with barely any inspections. I don't know why, but someone high up kept pushing for it to be for some reason. Because of that, nobody could really say anything about it, and he was left alone. But you know, that guy loved to flirt around with women, so maybe that had something to do with it. Is he implying that I slept with Uncle Koizumi? He's insulted both of us, but I held my anger in. I can't let myself be bothered by something like this. Anyway, today I would like to explain to you the details of our Institute's research and ask you to consider your decision. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend this meeting today. I guess they don't give out free sea urchins for nothing, huh? I explained to them how much the Higurashi syndrome mattered while being very careful not to go too fast. I tried to let them know that the syndrome's potential is not limited to small things like military applications, but is much more meaningful than that. It may explain ideology and religion. It may even shake the very definition of a human being. I took my time to explain as slowly and clearly as possible. I'm not confident that all of it had gotten through to those boorish men, but I'm happy if they understood even just a part of it. As long as they understand how much of a magnificent discovery Higurashi syndrome really is. Thank you, Major. I see. We'd like to discuss among ourselves, so could you please excuse yourself? Yes, thank you. Obviously, they can't discuss in front of me. I left all the documents with them. All I could do now was hope they viewed them favourably. I left the room and closed the sliding door. The room next door is a preparation room, so I was to head there. But I stopped. I shouldn't have done it, but I tried to listen in through the sliding door. Well, I don't know what to say. I feel sorry for everyone on the previous board of directors. I know how you feel. Koizumi-sensei pushed this so strongly. I met him once before, when he became founding director of Pharmaceuticals. He seemed like a very intelligent person to me. I guess you just can't win against age. It makes you realise how important it is for humans to know when to pull out. But it is a fact that this very rare disease called Higurashi syndrome really exists, so not everything is a delusion. I hear the Area Institute has already succeeded in identifying the disease and developing a treatment. Isn't that enough? In modern Japan, we have to be very careful with things that might make neighbouring countries nervous, and military-related issues are the most sensitive ones. So at the very least, we must erase the fact that research for military purposes has been going on for the past few years immediately. Is that separate from simply discontinuing the military research then? Yes. Even if we stopped it immediately, the fact that this Higurashi syndrome was being researched in order to create a biological weapon remains. We should hide the fact that no matter what purpose the research ends up being used for. If possible, it would be best if Higurashi syndrome just disappears. That's true. If the disease remains, then sooner or later, someone will become curious about it and dig up the hole we filled. I think we should follow the decision of the board of directors, and as soon as the Area Institute eradicates the disease, we should have them destroy all evidence of their work before disbanding. I guess that's for the best. It's not even a match for Nobel Prize, it's just useless for post-war Japan. Besides, this disease has existed for hundreds of years, right? We've made it this far without any problems. From the start, I thought this amounted to little more than just poking around in the bushes. Me too. I don't doubt the existence of the syndrome, but Dr. Takano, who discovered the disease, is exaggerating more than a little. He has quite a unique interpretation of things. First of all, I've never heard of a parasite that's capable of controlling people's thoughts. Just too much. If we tried to explain religions with this, then Buddha, Christ, all those people would be, what was it again? Queen carriers? If we tried exposing something like this, we'd be attacked by every nation on the planet. Religion's pretty scary nowadays. If there are parasites that live in animal brains, then I guess we can say there are parasites that live in human brains too. But for them to control human thoughts? That's a bit too unique, you know? As I peeked in through the gap in the sliding door, I became trapped within an unbelievable sense of deja vu. It's my first time experiencing this, but it doesn't feel that way. I don't know why, but the memory is so sad and so painful. Why, tears? Before I realised it, I saw a very nostalgic carpeted room on the other side of the sliding door, instead of a room covered in tatami mats. The room's filled with the smell of dust, mixed with the smell of some evaporated medicine, but it's very soothing to me just the same. And there is my grandfather. His article that he poured his heart into was made a mockery of, yet he wasn't even allowed to cry. This isn't a delusion, because within the documents I left with those men, there are a lot of references to the article my grandfather wrote. So I'm not surprised for my grandfather to be standing right there, explaining it to them himself. Together, with my tears from seeing the sight of my beloved grandfather, I watched these men insult and belittle his masterpiece. I have seen this sight before, and the sight should have ended there. But why is it repeating before my eyes? I can only blankly peek through the sliding door at this strange world where reality and delusion overlap. The Major is a little strange, and Koizumi-sensei, who believed in something as ridiculous as this, is a little strange too. But the strangest one of all is the person who wrote this article in the first place. It blends together expectations and delusions, and looks more like fiction than a thesis. I think this will be a big hit once it gets published, you know? You're absolutely right. I have a friend who's the head of a publishing company. I bet he'll love this. This is not a laughing matter, gentlemen. A huge amount of money was poured into this over the past few years. The worst thing is that the equipment used to gas the villagers in case of an emergency have already been procured. Our people must never learn about this. Such a plan to exist is scary enough, But if people find out about this equipment, the whole country will turn against us. On top of that, the cost to maintain this equipment is enormous. You don't really think it's being maintained, do you? Surely this whole project is some kind of money laundering scheme. What did they say anyway? If one girl dies, the whole village will go crazy at once? What kind of comic book is this? Exactly. Someone actually believed such a childish story and put a huge amount of money into it. Now that's crazy. What's truly ridiculous is that someone actually took those documents seriously. As he said that, he placed the documents down with an exaggerated gesture. Actually, I should say he slammed them down, because the papers ended up scattered all over the floor. You're too right. Excuse me, I need to use the bathroom. One of the men stood up and stepped on the papers, just like in the past with her as a little girl. And there weren't the papers on the tatami mats, but the ones on the carpet. Right there, I can see my grandfather filled with heart-rending sadness. Yet he can't let it show on his face. Grandfather's expression didn't change, yet it seemed distorted to me. I could see the walls of my grandfather's study crumpling and twisting behind him. I jumped into the room. I grabbed onto the man's legs. I don't hate him. No, it's not whether I hate him or not. Sure, I hate him, but that's not it. I just can't forgive the feet stepping on my grandfather's article. Don't step on them. My grandpa wrote these. Please don't step on them. Uh-oh, sorry. Those feet are still stepping on the papers. I tried to make them move, but they won't even budge, as though they've grown roots. So I begged as I grabbed onto his legs. I tried to pull the papers from under his feet, but I can't move his feet. I can't pull the papers. Don't step on them. Don't step on them. My grandpa's... Don't step on them. My sobbing echoed in that silent room, just like it did back then. Ah, that's a nice place to stop it, actually. But yeah, she's been ridiculed once again, and now it's her work as well as her grandpa's, I guess. So, where can we go from there? What I want to do is go back and make sure. So 1 is done, 2 is done, 3 is done, 4 is done, 5 is done. So we're moving on to all the ones we haven't even started yet, and I guess that's a big sign, maybe. The Revenge and him changing schools. I'm guessing is that one next. Oh, okay then. Has the background changed as well? The newspaper. Okay. Visa Raw Sea Urchin. Ah, yeah, we haven't done that one yet. Let's go to that. Grandfather's articles were trampled on. We have proof as clear as the pathogen causing Higurashi syndrome, so why can't they believe in its life cycle? Because they've never heard of that before? Because they can't imagine it? Because there's no way something so absurd could be true? Don't tell me that. I can't bring myself to care about the limits of those commoners' understanding. Why can't anyone believe the truth of my grandfather's article, which has been proven by the Area Institute? Why do people continue to believe that humans are a special existence? Humans are simply a species of animal. When various parasites that control their animal hosts exist, how can people declare parasites that use humans as their hosts don't? Wait, this isn't the problem. Not at all. Because everyone believed my grandfather's article up until now. Isn't that why the Ministry of Health and the Defence Agency lent me their assistance? But out of nowhere, they turned cold. In other words, every bit of their help was because Uncle Koizumi had my back. So nobody actually read my grandfather's article? Did they just pretend to in order to make Uncle Koizumi happy? What's the meaning of everything I've done up until now? I thought I'd achieved something, but what have I really accomplished? I don't know what's going on, and all I can do is wallow in grief. The more I think about it, the more I no longer understand the meaning of my own life. Didn't my Otakano devote her life to being useful for her grandfather? Then I haven't done anything for him at all. Count 3 with my grandfather, and I go on to count 4. What a crazy thing to say. Oh, no. If I let my mind wander, doubt about myself and my life will slip in. So I'm just going to fill the gap in my heart with alcohol. Is it that strange to presume the existence of something that can influence human thoughts? It's true that Higurashi syndrome isn't the actual cause of ideology. The best it can do is drive people mad. Socialism or capitalism don't originate with it. In the era with my grandfather was living, you couldn't talk about the world without ideology. The article came from that time and age, so some of its interferences may be exaggerated or biased, but there's no reason to deny its foresight. You can't simply say it's crazy and push it aside. Besides, the most important thing they ignored is the fact that Rika Furude, the Queen Carrier, holds the fate of the village in her hands. My grandfather had predicted the importance and danger of the Queen Carrier since beginning his research on Higurashi syndrome. But the hypothesis of the infected community collapsing into madness if the Queen Carrier dies is a Pandora's box that can't be proven. It can only be confirmed after Rika Furude's death, and if she dies, it'll be too late. There's no mistake that Rika Furude is the Queen Carrier and a very special existence. It's clear from the various experiments we've performed that she has a special influence on the infected villagers. Her death really could trigger the collapse of the entire village. That's no mistake. My grandfather predicted it. To say all of that sounds like a comic book. It's just too cruel. For them to call the various preparations we've made to protect her a fictional project that was used to tunnel funds. What I'm doing now is simply what my grandfather was going to do. Therefore, insulting my research is the same as insulting my grandfather. According to my grandfather's article, the first thing that needs to be done when researching the syndrome is to protect the Queen Carrier. Yet they've ridiculed that more than anything else. The more I think about it, the more the words stick in my memory. I can almost hear their voices. I can't stop myself from covering my ears. I'm sure the members of the board of directors think I'm crazy. I was trying to petition for the Irie Institute to not be shut down, but it backfired. The members must think that Higurashi syndrome is some kind of joke. I'm sure they'll push even harder now to put a stop to our research. If that happens, I would have to go back to researching as an individual. In other words, the same as what my grandfather did. There's a limit to what an individual can do. It's doubtful if I would even be able to go back to researching it individually. Once the Irie Institute is disbanded, everyone's obligated to keep it confidential until we die. I signed a contract to that extent. That's not just a simple promise. If I were to break it, a special unit like the Mountain Dogs would come after me to ensure that I keep everything confidential. Even if that doesn't happen, the Irie Institute is to eradicate the syndrome within a few years, and to bury every trace of it, including the results of our research. This isn't the normal process of research and treatment. They want to pretend nothing ever happened to begin with. I wanted to continue and complete my grandfather's work. What's happening now will result in the complete opposite. I'm actually helping to eliminate my grandfather's hard-earned research from this world. A treatment has been created already. Although Irie is as passionate as I am about developing a cure, he's not particularly interested in any other aspect of our research. I hate to admit it, but he has more experience and talent than I do. I'm sure he'll come up with a plan for eradicating Higurashi syndrome within 3 years, as requested by the new board of directors. And that board of directors will provide just enough funds to bury the syndrome. Irie will do that happily. Just like the time when he disposed of all the research data on test medicine H170 as was requested. All I can do is passively hinder them, just like they did me, while watching the Higurashi syndrome get eradicated. And when everything's over, I'll finally complete an article which is destined to be destroyed. Should I kill myself with thoughts of it in my head, so I can at least present the article to my grandfather? He won't be happy even if I did that. On the contrary, he'd be disappointed in me for throwing the research he spent half of his life on down the drain. He won't embrace me, I know that for sure. I wanted to reveal Higurashi syndrome to the world. I wanted the world to acknowledge my grandfather's masterpiece. I wanted to carve his name in history and promote him to a god. My grandfather waited, believing that day would come, and he must be patiently waiting still, even after entering his eternal sleep. But I ruined it. I wanted him to become a god. I was gonna become a god myself too. Then we'll be together forever. I'll never have to be alone. If I become a god, God won't test me. There won't be any unhappiness. There won't be a sudden train accident. My grandfather won't go away, nor will Uncle Koizumi. I'll never have to go back to being alone. I am alone. I have no allies. I was just dancing in ecstasy on a stage without anybody watching. I'd only just realised that there was no applause, but only ridicule. No, it's doubtful that there was actually anyone in the audience to begin with. My parents died, my grandfather died, and then Uncle Koizumi died. 3 times had God toyed with me, with their rolls of the dice. I thought I overcame each of those trials with my own strength, but I didn't. I was protected by a new guardian each time, and this time I have no guardians left to protect me. When I first arrived in Higurashi, I had every intention of challenging God and kicking him off of his throne. But now, forget challenging God, I'm just a loser being played with. I suddenly can't find it within myself to care about anything, because if I cared, I'd be swallowed by sadness. Soaking my heart in alcohol is all I can do to forget about everything. A luxurious black car abruptly stopped next to me. I became sober immediately, as cars like that remind me of the time when I was captured after escaping from the orphanage. Black suits and sunglasses got out from the car. I realised it instantly. They must have been sent by one of my clients. Being involved in the development of a biological weapon, being the main person responsible for it, on top of that, being mentally unstable. They obviously don't want me walking around freely. They're gonna abduct me, seal me in concrete, erase my existence. Or so I thought. I expected them to grab me and shove me in the car, but surprisingly they bowed deeply to me instead. Are you the Vice Administrator of the Irie Institute, Major Mayo Takano? Normally yes. I'm just a drunk loser at the moment though. There's someone who would like to meet with you. Could you please come along with us? Even if I refuse, you're gonna take me along anyway, right? I'll be killed anyway. I can't make my grandfather's wish come true, even if I live. Cynical thoughts like that ran through my head. Then the person in the back seat said, "We won't force you, but I'm sure we can help. I've never met this young woman before. She must be around my age. She knows about the Area Institute, so she must be somehow connected to my clients. She's too young to be one herself. I bet a client who doesn't want to expose himself sent her. Even if I live, I can't make my grandfather a god. I can't be a god myself either. Who cares about where a loser like me gets killed anyway?" I made up my mind and got into the back seat. As soon as I got in, the luxurious car smoothly took off. Silence filled the car for a time. They're the ones that invited me. I don't have anything to say myself. Long time no see, though I'm sure you don't remember. We met in passing at Koizumi Sensei's funeral. Oh, we did? Sorry, I don't remember. There were so many people at that funeral. I can't recall any of them. But why is that what she's opening with? Does that mean she belongs to the Koizumi faction? Koizumi Sensei was very active as one of the opinion leaders during the post-war restoration. Can't begin to talk about the way the country is today without mentioning its accomplishments. When we were rebuilding the country from the burnt fields after the war, our nation's supporters were united, but unfortunately, it's hard to say that now. As our time of peace grew longer, and we started seeing the generation who didn't remember the burnt fields become key national figures, we saw a decline in those who understood the noble intentions we started with. As the final remaining member of those noble men, Koizumi Sensei was the central pillar guiding us into the 21st century. After his death, the Koizumi faction quickly fell. As a result, other factions were extending their influence, leading everything to become quite a mess, right? I heard about these things from Juro-san. It's really no different from the Sengoku era. When a lord or military leader died back then, the struggle to become his successor brought chaos to the nation. This country hasn't changed for hundreds of years. Exactly. Unfortunately, while we built peaceful Japan into a comfortable place to live, the noble intentions that guided us from the outset have been forgotten. Right now, various factions are fighting in Tokyo over the seat left behind by Koizumi Sensei. If Koizumi Sensei and the other deceased servicemen ever found out about this, they'd be so disappointed. What's that have to do with me? Aren't you the biggest victim of all this? I think you've had enough experiences with sudden shifts in the wind, haven't you? It's true that our research began because of Koizumi Sensei's support, and the pressures we faced under the anti-Koizumi faction have been tempestuous and cold. Maybe for them, every project that Koizumi Sensei left behind is an eyesore, regardless of what that project is. In other words, that simply means they rejected the research itself, doesn't it? Come to think of it, something like that happened to my grandfather too. Back then, Koizumi brought authorities from various fields to see him. They talked down to my grandfather, despite the praise they'd given earlier. Koizumi Sensei told me that the masterminds were responsible for that. It's not too much of a stretch to say that your research into Higurashi syndrome is the #1 leader in terms of funding, organisation, and so forth in terms of projects within the Alphabet Project. Therefore, it's been made into a scapegoat by those people who want to monopolise the interests of the project. A scapegoat? What I mean is that your research into the Higurashi syndrome isn't what they rejected. What's important to them isn't the content, but the faction leading the project. I wanted to tell you that today. In the end, I'm just a sacrificial goat put up for everyone to see, huh? Doesn't matter what I research. The only thing they care about is that we belong to that Koizumi faction. That's correct. The faction in control is like the direction of the wind. Sometimes it's a tailwind, sometimes it's a headwind. Fortunately, once the direction changes, it's not easy to turn it back around. So you're saying it won't be easy to bring my hostile clients back? That's correct. The Alphabet Project has been taken over completely. All the directors have been replaced, and they're only interested in fulfilling their own desires. From the very beginning, they had no intention of listening to your explanation. I grasped my knees, remembering that humiliating day. Let me change the subject for now. What do you consider the objective of your research, Takano-san? That is, to fulfill my intellectual curiosity. Isn't it the promise you made with the late Dr. Takano, who you looked up to as your grandfather? That's surprising. Koizumi-sensei once told me that this fact could become a hindrance, so I've never told any of my clients about it. How'd you find out? If they know that, maybe they know a lot more about us than I think. Where do you hear that? Koizumi-sensei told me. What? We're not your enemies. Please relax. We're here to help you. I don't know who she really is, but I know she's here because she wants something from me. So what is it that she wants? She knows about the relationship between my grandfather and me, so it can't be careless. But in order for us to help you, we need to have you tell us the truth. In other words, we want you to be honest. I don't know what you're trying to say. What's your true purpose in researching Higurashi syndrome? Have my grandfather's masterpiece acknowledged for what it is, and to have him become a god. Isn't it to have the world acknowledge the late Dr. Takno's research, and to get revenge against those who trampled upon and looked down on the articles your grandfather wrote with all his heart? I'm reaching the limit and not let my surprise show on my face. How much does this woman know about me? In the first place, who is she? How does she know everything I'm thinking? I can't admit that out loud in any case. I have appearances to consider. But while this elegant woman was wearing an angelic smile, she laughed with the devil's seductive whisper, several times better at it than I am. A simple smile and a devilish grin are completely different. An ordinary smile means goodwill, but a malicious smirk means the complete opposite. This woman can read my deepest thoughts, and while doing so, she's testing me to see how honest I can be with her. Whether I tell her the truth or not isn't the issue here. She's testing me to see if I can trust her enough to confess everything. If I've completely misunderstood, please forgive me. We'll take you to the nearest train station. That would be Gogura Station, wouldn't it? Well, on the other hand, if what I'm saying is somewhere close to what you're feeling, I think we can help each other. What do you think? Mayu Takano-san? I can't say anything in reply, but I think that simply remaining silent might also be an answer. I want to hear what she wants from me. I've always phrased my objective as some vague idea of turning my grandfather into a god, but she's just taught me what my true objective is. I want to get revenge for my grandfather's suffering. I want those people to fight over the right to read the article they once trampled on and mocked. I want them to believe, no, to worship, every single word my grandfather left behind. That's my true objective. This woman has stated out loud that which I have only whispered within myself. She even asked me if she was correct. Is this woman an angel or a devil? If I'm a human, is she in existence above me? Your misfortune was that you didn't understand your true objective. That's why you couldn't achieve anything. You set an abstract goal like uncovering the mysteries of Higurashi syndrome, which could never be achieved, so you couldn't help but to question the meaning of your own life. Isn't that right? That's wrong. Your actual objective, your inner dream, isn't so abstract. Can you imagine? Just think of the scene. The true leaders of the nation are reading your grandfather's article. While shocked at its contents, they believe all of it without even a hint of doubt. These people humbly read the article with footprints on its back. They express their respect at the insightfulness of his research and tremble in fear at its implications. What do you think? Were you able to imagine it? This is my first time envisioning something like this. And yet it's been my dream all along. Your grandfather is the one who named it Higurashi syndrome, yes? That name will echo in every corner of the nation, will be carved into eternity. Carved into eternity, full time. Indeed. Your grandfather's masterpiece will be remembered forever. Isn't that the dream you've devoted your whole life to realizing? My grandfather's masterpiece will be remembered forever. Remembered forever. And yet, those pigs who couldn't understand turned your dream into a sacrifice, simply because of factional conflicts of interests. They even tried to trample it into the ground. Just like how they kept trampling on your grandfather's article. See? You must be full of regret. The data you've worked so hard for is indeed the same as the article your grandfather did his best to produce. You can't forgive the people who laughed at it. You can't forgive those pigs who ridiculed your grandfather's masterpiece, right? Aren't I right? Oh, I know I am. But you didn't think about that because you're so kind as to not know how to condemn people. See? An indescribable emotion is filling me, making me feel like I'm suffocating. The sensation of being cautious and calm, of trust and mistrust, are all blended together. My heart's beating fast, my fingertips are shaking. Why am I at peace? Is it because she reminded me of my true dream that I couldn't express with my own words until now? Is it because she made me aware of the anger within myself? Why am I hesitant? Is it because she's reminded me of things I've never told anyone till now? No, those are the things I've never even told myself. Hey, Mayu-san? If what I'm saying isn't wrong, but is in fact completely true, I know I can help you with both your dream and revenge. What's the matter? You feeling alright? If that's the case, I shouldn't keep you. We'll take you to the nearest station. No. A small noise leaked pathetically out of my mouth, like a child apologizing for a prank. Did you say something? I know she heard me. The woman smiled, trying to make me say it again. That's not it. I'm doing perfectly fine. I'm glad. Let's continue then. If that is, in fact, my dream, then what can you do? I'll help you with both of your vengeances. One's revenge for your grandfather will make those people who ridiculed your grandfather's article humbly take it into their hands once again, the one they violated. The other is revenge against the board of directors for trampling over your research, simply because of their factional conflicts. Revenge against the filthy pigs who tried to stomp on not only your work, but on your life as well. Getting revenge against the board of directors by having them read my grandfather's article. We'll be honest with you too. We're helping you because our interests are the same. We can't let the project that Koizumi-sensei established for the sake of Japan's future be eaten up by those lowlifes after his death. If we had more power, we wouldn't have allowed that scum to become involved at all. However, the wind started blowing in a different direction, and the project can no longer express Koizumi-sensei's ideal. It has become a pigsty for them to satisfy their own desires. Koizumi-sensei, who gave them the name Alphabet Project, would not have wished for it to remain this way. The project should have been shut down the minute it devoted from their ideals. I'm back again. So you're trying to make the sacrificial sheep of the factional conflict into a wolf, are you? If you choose to keep your grandfather's article hidden away in your heart, I won't force you. No. I won't let that happen. I don't mind falling to the ground myself, but at least my grandpa's article. Don't you want to make the article that represents you and your grandfather's lives into something that will last forever? After all, that's your dream, isn't it? That's right. That's my reason to live. We'll give you a chance to make your dream come true. On the night I decided I was a loser in life and drowned myself in tears and alcohol after being abandoned by everything, I met someone who could be an angel or devil. Is this divine salvation or the devil's seduction? I fought with the board of directors regarding the continuation of our research, but that was completely off target. That was my true goal. My objective isn't to continue research in Hinamazawa syndrome. It's to have the world acknowledge my grandfather's research as masterpiece. Somehow, the method for achieving that swapped places with my objective and caused me to misunderstand myself. The purpose of my life isn't to continue my grandfather's research. It's to get revenge and repay them for my grandfather's suffering. That's what this woman is saying. She's promising to make my grandfather's research eternal. She's also promising an opportunity to take revenge against those who laughed at it. When Uncle Koizumi died, I thought God was playing dice with my fate. But my unshakable conviction gathered together a power stronger than God's die. So maybe this meeting happened for a reason. Curse you, God, you're testing me again. I will overcome the death of Uncle Koizumi, and I will make my grandfather an eternal existence by taking revenge against the God who tested me. I will, for certain. I will take my revenge. Okay, and this is where she goes even more insane, I guess. But that's a good place to end, I think. Who is this mysterious woman, though? Maybe we'll find out more about her as we go on. I feel like all the pieces are really coming together now, so... You know, we've only got these 2 pages left. If I go back, nothing. So yeah, just pages 6 and 7 left. What's next? Revenge of Mayo Takano is required, so we just had that. And Kaiichi's changed schools, so we've had that. So yeah, it should be pretty straightforward from now on, I think. This lot is weird. I don't understand how we're going to connect them and know which ones to go for first. But we'll soon find out. 7 fragments, maybe that'll be the ending one. I don't know. But that one's next time anyway. So this has been Greeny XI. I hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you again in a bit when we see what June 1983 is all about. As if we haven't seen any of it before. But, you know. Thanks again for watching, folks. See you again in a bit.